I'm your girl, Kim Dynasty, Dynasty Radio NY. And I'm here with the one and only Senator Kevin Parker. My co-host wasn't able to join us today. I hope you don't mind.
No, no problem. You're enough.
Okay, I know that's right. So we're gonna get into it because we got an election coming up. So we got a lot of big things happening. So how's it going on the campaign trail? How we doing?
Things are going well. Things are obviously very busy. We're in the kind of the home stretch now. Literally, the election is a week from today on June 22nd. Early vote started Saturday, June 12th. And so from June 12th to June 20th, there's going to be early vote here in the city of New York. And, in this process, we are beginning to vote for, the Democratic primary for mayor, public advocate, city controller. And there's 51 members of the city council, 36 of those seats are up for election. And then in many places, borough president and district attorney are also on, and then various judges. And so there are elections all over the place. And so I really want to encourage people to do some research and develop a voting plan. Are you going to vote in person? Are you going to vote by mail? Are you going to vote over the next, 5 or 6 days in the early vote process? Or are you going to wait to the 22nd? I suggest that people vote early vote so they can avoid lines. But you can vote by mail. You can vote in person. You're going to go with family members, you're going to go with friends. We should be encouraging everybody to vote. Exercising our vote is really one of the most important responsibilities that we have as, residents and citizens of this great country and this great city and state.
Nice. Are you suggesting that people go either, you laid out a whole bunch of options, and I know with the presidential election, it was early voting. Are you suggesting any one over the other, or?
Yeah. So I really am suggesting people early vote. Tuesday the 22nd, is election day, all right? And people certainly can vote in person that day. But I think that, first of all, there's no time like the present. Second thing is that, just in case there are lines and a lot of people decide to go last minute, it's usually easier and faster if you vote during this early vote period, which is why we in the state legislature expanding voting to make sure that people have that early vote option. And so far, about 30,000 people in the city of New York have already voted early. And, and so we want to get as many people out to vote now as possible.
Nice. Okay, so now just for everybody, just let everybody know, what districts do you represent?
Yeah. So currently, I'm the state senator from the 21st district in Brooklyn. So I represent part of Canarsie and part of Flatlands, but principally Flatbush and East Flatbush, Midwood, Ditmas Park, Windsor Terrace, and Park Slope. In the New York State Senate, I'm the majority whip, as well as the chairman of the Energy and Telecommunications Committee. But this year, I'm also a candidate for New York City Comptroller. So every 4 years, we elect or elect people on the city level. This year is a term limited year, which means that the people the current mayor can't run again, and the current city controller cannot run again, and 36 of the 51 members of the city council cannot run again. And so all those seats are up for re-election. The borough president can't run again here in Brooklyn. And so there's a borough president race here in Brooklyn, as well as Queens and a few other places, the Bronx, Staten Island, are all electing new borough presidents, and Manhattan. The whole city is electing new borough presidents. So, and so I've decided to throw my hat in the ring for city controller.
I know that's right. So now, why Kevin Parker?
Well, we're coming out of a pandemic, and this pandemic has threatened both our lives and our livelihoods. And it's really going to take some important leadership to step up and to address those issues. And I think I have the things that the city's going to need in order to move forward in an equitable way. And that's experience, leadership, but most importantly, vision. And I've been, again, as I've been talking about it, I've been, for 18 years serving in the state Senate, but even before getting elected, I grew up in this city, grew up in public housing in the Bushwick projects. And with the public school my entire life, graduated from Midwood High School, and then spent almost 30 years working in public service, everything from the city council to the state assembly. Worked on Wall Street for a little while, worked for the first Governor Cuomo, worked for the state controller for a number of years before having a chance to help Hillary Clinton become the US Senator from New York. And then had the honor of my life to get elected and be voted into the state Senate. And here again, I've been representing my community for 18 years, serving on the finance committee and over a decade on the banking and insurance committees. And during that time, also spending the entire time on the energy committee, where I am the chair of the energy committee now. And so again, I think I have the experience, and I really have, I think, shown in the areas in which I've been engaged, I really have shown leadership. And that's just, somebody who's been willing to step out, even when it's dangerous, and fight for the things that are right for the people of the city of New York.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So now you mentioned we're coming out of the pandemic. What does that mean for your position as far as bringing businesses back in the community?
Yeah, that's really, for me, job one. And I talk a lot about vision because I think the thing that separates me between, me and everybody else who's running for city controller is my vision for the position. And I tell people to look at results over record, right? Like you can look at people's records, but I'm somebody who's really has, had results in this area. First thing I really want to do is I want to create an economic equity council. It'll be made up of business leaders and labor leaders, clergy leaders and community activists, and in collaboration to mark a way forward. I think I have some of the answers, but certainly not all of the answers. And I want to bring people together. It'll be kind of like the World Economic Forum, except for New York City. And then exactly as you talked about it, I think that the way that we have our equitable recovery is to build small businesses. The question in this moment, Kim, is not whether the city rebounds and comes back. The question is whether our communities come back. Does Flatbush and Crown Heights in East New York come back, right? Does Jamaica, Queens, and Hollis and Laurelton come back, right? Does the South Bronx come back? Does Co-op City come back? Does Harlem come back? Does the North Shore of Staten Island come back? That's the real question. And I'm somebody who's been, involved in those equity issues for a long time. We have an economy that's moved from Wall Street to Main Street. And so as the city controller, I just won't use the pension fund to invest in Wall Street. I'll invest in Main Street. And we'll put money into, small businesses so that they can have capital to grow. But I'll also create a collaboration with the City University of New York in order to create small business development centers at every CUNY campus in the city. That way people have access to capital, access to mentorship, to, technical assistance they need to run their businesses, as well as bonding. It's going to be important that we provide as much support as possible because that's where jobs are created. And so if you really want to rebuild the tax base, you got to put people back to work. Who cares if the city of New York is in the black if your personal finances are in the red? And so we really need to focus on people and not just the process. So in addition to that, I also, again, as chair of the Energy and Telecom Committee, has been very, very involved in the idea of building a clean energy economy in the state of New York. And I certainly know how to do that here in the city of New York and preparing people for the jobs of the future. And that's going to take a lot of work. But if we work together, we can certainly get that done. I certainly am used to leading that process and part of what I want to kind of focus on.